went through something that I thought I would never ever go through.
Imagine Jamie Foxx, barely alive, plugged into machines in a hospital bed, while in a different corner of town, Sean Diddy Combs lives large, unaware that his former friend's recovery might soon cast a shadow over his empire. Because what Jamie witnessed at those notorious parties wasn't just celebrity gossip, it was evidence that could lead to an investigation of one of hip-hop's biggest empires. And now, after months of silence, Jamie's finally talking.
The internet said that Puffy tried to kill me. I left them parties early. I was out by 9. Something don't look right. It's slippery in here.
April 2023, Jamie Foxx had fallen on set because of a brain hemorrhage, fighting for his life. But the surprise twist no one expected, as Jamie was unconscious for 20 days, the FBI started building their case against Diddy. Coincidence? Or did Jamie's near-death experience spark something far bigger than anyone expected? Let's go back to when Jamie and Diddy were friends, and Jamie thought those fancy parties were just about rich people having fun. Oh, how wrong he was. What Jamie learned at those so-called parties was not champagne and polite conversation. It was a criminal enterprise in disguise. Jamie had been Diddy's guy since 2004. He was the perfect person to make any strange situation seem normal. But Jamie was not dumb. He began to notice strange things that made him uncomfortable. Parties raged on for too long. The sober guests who came in left changed. The rooms everyone else couldn't enter, but Jamie could, simply because Diddy trusted him. A huge miscalculation, Puffy. A huge miscalculation. Now it gets interesting. Jamie has protected these secrets for years as Diddy constructed his empire on some very sinister foundations. Jamie kept the Hollywood code of silence. That was until his brain started to bleed and everything shifted. When you're in a hospital bed thinking you're going to die, you begin to think about your choices. Jamie realized that he had participated in something he never wished to be a part of. The parties he joked about. Those were hunting grounds. Meanwhile, Diddy had no idea Jamie was going through a spiritual transformation. Diddy did not even notice how miserable Jamie was at those parties and how it would impact him down the line. Plot twist? It didn't. It made Jamie even more determined to expose the truth. While Jamie struggles to stay alive, the internet assigns its detective to the case. Suddenly, everyone's an expert and shouting Diddy poisoned Jamie because there's secretly recorded tapes. And Jamie was going to be a witness and bring down the entire empire. The conspiracy crazies went totally bonkers, spinning tales wilder than anything Hollywood produced. But here's the good news. While others on the internet were making up stories, the actual FBI was constructing an actual case with actual evidence. And guess what? They didn't need Jamie's testimony to arrest Diddy. They had something greater. In December 2024, Jamie releases his Netflix special, and everyone expects him to reveal major secrets about Diddy's dealings. Instead, he delivers the hardest roast disguised as comedy Hollywood has ever seen.
The internet said that Puffy tried to kill me. I left them parties early. I was out by 9. Something don't look right. It's slippery in here.
Jamie doesn't need to expose Diddy's weaknesses. He just needs to distance himself from the drama. He does this with great care, making jokes that are sharper than any insult could ever hope to be. If you joke about someone, you stop paying attention to them. To someone like Diddy, who built his reputation on respect and fear, becoming the subject of a joke is worse than being despised. But the real genius? Jamie's timing. He waits until Diddy is already in federal lockup, on the brink of a life sentence, and helpless. Then he drops his comedy special like a eulogy for Diddy's career, completely merciless. This is what happened, and it's darker than the wildest online conspiracy. Diddy's parties weren't just wild celebrations, they were setups for gathering dirt. Think about it. Get influential people compromised, record everything, and then use it to build your empire. It's classic blackmail disguised as partying. Jamie caught on to this a long time ago. He noticed the strange atmosphere and the odd behavior, and understood why some guests always seemed so nervous the next day. So he came up with a plan for staying safe. Arrive early, be seen, and leave before the party takes off. He called it being out by 9 o'clock, but really, he was just avoiding trouble. But Diddy believed Jamie was being responsible. He had no clue that Jamie was protecting himself from becoming just another victim in Diddy's collection of compromised celebrities. Now, let's talk timing, because this is where it gets interesting. Jamie's brain hemorrhage happened in April 2023. Diddy's homes were raided in March 2024. He was arrested in September 2024. That's not a coincidence. That's a timeline of an investigation. Federal officials had been tracking Diddy for years, but they needed time to build a solid case. Meanwhile, Jamie was recovering, getting his life back in order, and maybe wondering if he would get dragged into all this as a witness. But the genius part is that Jamie doesn't need to be a witness. His weapon is his comedy special. By staying distant from Diddy's public drama and claiming he always left early, he protects himself from being guilty by association while continuing to throw shade at his former friend. When Jamie jokes about leaving the parties early because something's not right, he's not just being funny. He's telling us that he saw Diddy's behavior long before. When he says, "It's slippery in here," he's not talking about spilled drinks. He's talking about the poor choices that ruined many other celebrities. And when he calls Diddy the devil, he's serious. What kind of person makes a living by deceiving others? What kind of person uses friendship for selfish reasons and turns parties into opportunities for harm? The beautiful part is that Jamie's delivering this devastating character assassination while making people laugh. He's humiliating Diddy with the jokes, which is far more effective than any report could ever be. While everyone laughs at Jamie's jokes, the real story is unfolding in federal court. Sex trafficking, racketeering, and conspiracy charges. These aren't just rumors online. These are federal charges backed by evidence, testimony, and years of investigation. They took away 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. They found drugs, guns, and documentation of activities that made those party jokes seem a lot less funny. They have reports from victims who've described years of exploitation, coercion, and abuse. Diddy doesn't just face prison, he risks losing everything he's worked for. His music empire, his businesses, his image, and his freedom are all on the line because he thought he was untouchable. This is where Jamie handles the situation like a pro. Instead of getting dragged into the scandal, he flips the narrative. He turns his health scare into a heroic tale. A man who survives a near-death experience, recovers against all odds, and returns stronger than ever. He doesn't need to out Diddy because the feds have already done that. He doesn't need to be a victim because he's already gone through something worse than anything Diddy could do. He just needs to stay clear of the wreckage while keeping his fans entertained. It's genius. While other stars might worry about their ties to Diddy, Jamie's already cleared his name. He was always the sensible one, leaving the parties early. He was never part of the inner circle. He was just the performer who was invited in. But here's what all this reveals about Hollywood. The entertainment industry has been running on an unspoken system for decades. Everyone knows who the predators are. Everyone knows whose parties to avoid. And everyone knows who the powerful people are that you don't cross. But nobody says anything out loud because careers are built on maintaining these toxic relationships. Jamie's stand-up comedy special is refreshing in that it pushes the boundaries without technically crossing them. He's calling out the flaws in the system without putting himself at risk. He's exposing the bad behavior while still being able to deny any involvement. He's getting the best of both worlds. The message to other celebrities is clear. You can be in the industry without selling out. You can succeed without embracing the bad stuff. You just need to be smart enough to see the threats and strong enough to avoid them. The irony is that Diddy's troubles started because of his success. He became so powerful and arrogant, so confident that he lost track of himself. He threw bigger parties, took more risks, and made more enemies. There may have been secret tapes since reports say Jamie recorded some of those crazy parties, but Jamie never relied on them. His strategy for staying safe was always about being open and joking. The real secret isn't what Jamie knows, but what he chooses not to know. While everyone else was digging deeper into Diddy's world, Jamie was quietly plotting his escape. When the whole empire came crashing down, he was already in the safe zone, watching the chaos from his Netflix special. The lesson here? Sometimes the best thing to do is leave the party early, and sometimes the most powerful revenge you can get on someone is by living well while they destroy their own lives. Subscribe for more Hollywood truths, and leave a comment if you think Jamie's comedy special was the hardest blow to Diddy's career.